Notre petite communauté est sur le point de s'agrandir et nous attendons tous cet heureux événement.
Bonjour les garçons.
So boom, right? Pixar is one of those studios that's kind of hard not to know about at this point. Whether you think their quality has dropped off in recent years or not, it'd be hard to say they're in any way obscure. However, you could say that about their earlier days. And now I don't mean the original 6 Pixar shorts. Nah, I'm talking about this shit.
Si sientes que tu organismo no funciona muy bien, puede ser por falta de fibra.
In a very condensed history lesson, Pixar used to bleed money almost everywhere they went back in the day. Whether it was while a part of the New York Institute of Technology, making visual effects and being merged with Cadabroscope at Lucasfilm, or even selling their own computer animation production system with Steve Jobs as their chairman, they were still losing crazy money. Even after the initial deal with Disney, Jobs still considered selling these niggas till he knew it was going to be a hit. But that's where this condensed history ends, because our main topic of concern is the advertisements they made as a way to make some sort of money and hone their skills from both before and around the time of said deal. Because even though these are just advertisements made to sell you things, they still show one of Pixar's best aspects, and there's weird shit like this in them.
And almost no calories.
One of my favorite things that Pixar has always done is the way they animate the inanimate. It was mostly bred from necessity, since CGI humans used to look like this. But they keep it interesting by rarely just resorting to the age-old method of adding a face onto something that doesn't usually have one. Not saying that that's a bad method, or that Pixar never does it themselves. It's just more interesting to me to see how you can personify an object without just turning it into an experiment gone horribly wrong. Their old ads display this in a variety of ways, whether it be with candy, playing cards, or even Listerine. So let's take a look at a few and see exactly how weird they can get. First up is a campaign that raises far more questions than it probably should. Lifesavers holes were a variant introduced in 1990, and the ad Pixar made oddly portrays them as children. The main thing that makes it odd is the shot at the beginning of the ad, which implies that not only do lifesavers have telekinesis or some shit, but also that the lifesavers give birth to them? I genuinely can't tell, and that's because it's just a silly ad and I'm the only person trying to attach lore to it. The ad itself though is pretty good. The way they made even hard candy move and bounce as if they're filled with life is great, and setting the whole ad in the playground gave them a lot of ways to have fun with the concept. That wasn't the only ad they made for Lifesavers though, as hands down the best variation, the gummies, also got an ad. This one is a spectacle to watch as all the gummies dance and move to the beat. The way they animate them to be super flexible really sells their chewy nature, and the way the first one fakes you out by rolling out completely rigid is a really nice touch. There's so much to love about this ad, from the sheer amount of gummies animated at the same time to whatever the fuck this one's doing. It's got crazy amounts of charm that a lot of Pixar ads have, but some of these shits are just kinda weird though. The all-brand ads start well enough, with the visual of a bloated balloon deflating to a regular size, but every single one afterwards feels like somebody on the team had an inflation fetish, especially the one with the violins. And any of the ads with the product itself aggressively talking directly to me has mad give in to the taste vibes. Even with their weirdness though, these ads can be really great as an example of Pixar's personification prowess, and I think that's best seen with shit like this.
You have met your match. Listerine antiseptic. It says what it does what it says.
I mentioned earlier how Pixar didn't always stray away from just putting appendages on the objects that didn't have them. This is one of them, and it's off-putting at first, but compared to the other shit in these many Listerine ads, it's the most normal thing about them. And now they start normal enough, with the bottle being a legendary knight fighting off the personification of gingivitis, but almost immediately they go off the rails with the next one.
It's a right. And another right. Listerine's really rocked him. It's over. The winner, Listerine Antiseptic. It says what it does. It does what it says.
I love this ad so much because it's supposed to be implying that's boxing gingivitis, but since it's first person, it just looks like what happens after you mention that Listerine looks like unhealthy piss. It gets weirder though, because next up was the introduction of the, at the time, new cool mint flavor, and they decided to make it into Tarzan for some reason. I don't quite get it, but it's animated well, so it's not that weird. Robin Hood was a weird choice too, but it's also executed well enough for the weirdest thing to be that gingivitis has never fully shown up in these ads. I forget about most of that though once the bottle becomes a fucking army general out of nowhere.
We kill germs. We kill the germs that cause bad breath.
This one feels so much like a fever dream, dog. These ads may be weird, but honestly, that's what makes them stand out. I'd say I'd want these over a lot of the ads that YouTube runs now, but they'd probably shove them down my throat enough to make me hate them too. They probably stand best as just something to look back at. The fact that even this far back, you can clearly see them implementing shit that they would still do and be even better at decades later, goes to show not just how dedicated they were to these ads, but their dedication in general. It doesn't keep a lot of it from still being funny though. I'll see you niggas next time.